everyone. Welcome back to You Are Here. I'm your host, Danny, and today we are talking about traveling with friends, and we're figuring that out together. How to find friends that you travel well with, funny travel stories that I have with my friends, and also just in general, like managing travel stresses, etc. Okay, so let's get into it. All right. So I have a few friends that I've gone on multiple trips with, and this is what the episode will be about. And you can see them all over my Instagram. Tati, Rach, Liv are my girlies, and we've done a few like big travels together. And they're like the best people to travel with, and I think there's a few reasons for that, but I feel like traveling in general is always a very high stress situation, especially if you're traveling internationally. I think there's just like obviously so many things that are out of your hands. I think there's so many kinds of people who, are used to different accommodations of like aircon, of like comfortable beds, of whatever. Like people I think just have different meters of like comfortability and what they want and what they don't want, especially on a trip and like what they're spending money towards. So I feel like this topic is just very important to cover, especially as you're growing up and you want to take trips with your friends. And the last thing you want to do is get to a trip and figure out like, dang, this was the worst person to come on this trip, even though you love them, back home. And I think we obviously all really like lucked out to a degree that we're all such great travel companions. And I do want to do an episode with them as well because they are so funny. And also they'll have so many good things to say about traveling with friends because they've also done different travels with different groups of friends that haven't gone as well. So I feel, anyways, that'll be a great episode that hopefully will come out later on this year. But I'm going to talk about my traveling with them. Recently, we just came back from one of my friend's weddings and we traveled to Greece and then we traveled to Barcelona together. And we were traveling, the three of us, Tati, Rach, and I were traveling together. And because our other friend Olivia doesn't live in the same state. So anyways, it was a whole day of traveling, and I do need to get into this story to really set the framework of like what a hectic experience it truly, truly was. So our flight path was DFW to Heathrow, Heathrow to Athens. Okay. Perfectamundo. It's like an 8-hour flight, Dallas to Heathrow, and then like a 3.5-hour flight, Heathrow to Athens. We would get there at 1 p.m. Like literally gorgeous, beautiful. We would still have the whole rest of the afternoon, drop our stuff. Like it was so like the time was perfect. Okay. Well, we're at the DFW airport. We get told our flight gets delayed by 45 minutes because we had like a wind advisory. It was giving post-apocalyptic outside, to be fair. So like I get it. But yeah, so we were delayed. Anyways, our flight lands in London and we get up to the gate and they tell us, or we have to go to a different terminal in Heathrow to get to our next flight. So we get up to the like gate before you can get to the shuttle, and they're like, "You're not getting on that flight." And I said, "What do you mean? We got 30 minutes to get to that flight. Like we're making it." And they were like, "No, you're not making the flight. We booked you guys on a different one, whatever." So they moved all of our tickets to a separate flight that made us now switch to Munich to Athens. And the ladies at the gate were telling us, this is also a really tight connecting flight. So just tell everyone on the flight that you have a tight connecting and they need to like help you get off and you need to get off first. So we were like, awesome. We love inconveniencing strangers around us and also just like making everything about us. Like we love doing that. I'm being annoying. Like, no, we hate that. Like what? That's the last thing we want to do. We don't want to get on a plane full of strangers and be like, guys, we're the most important people on here. We have to get a flight. We were so stressed about just, being rats about that. Anyways, so we got on this next flight. We tell the crew, keep in mind, we've already been in an airplane for like 8 hours. And then we've been in an airport now for maybe like an hour and a half too. And we're now boarding this other flight. We get on there. We tell the crew like, hey, we're traveling together. We have a super tight connecting flight. Can you help us out? And they were like, yes, please come into this corner. They shove us into this like little corner in like one of the galleys of the small plane. And we're just there. When I tell you the way we were looking, not only what are people saying now on the internet? Chopped. We was looking chopped. It was bad. It was bad. We were so tired. And, you know, you sleep on an airplane, but it's not like sleep. You know, you can never really like rest on an airplane. And that's what we were giving. We were giving haggard, like exhaustamundo. So anyways, we got on this flight. We pull all of they like let us put our bags closer to the front of the plane so we can just, you know, grab them and go. And we also were traveling carry on only. So we literally had all of our stuff with us, which is good, but also annoying in situations like this. But I guess it could have been worse if they were checked. Anyways, so we get off this plane. We find out they're making us go through passport control when we get off this plane. Love that. Love that. Of course, the queue is miles long. Of course, we are extra double tired. And like, it was a bad vibe. And at that point, they also only had 2 queues open. So it was just forever. One of my, Rachel, who's amazing, she talked to one of the guys and was like, can you open this line? And he was like, girl, no, like, who are you? And then sure enough, eventually, guess what he did? Open that line. Okay. And this is when the story gets funny. So we get into that new line. He's like, yeah, come on. People in Germany also, hey, wait, so nice. Like the Munich airport, they were really nice. I have nothing but good things to say. Maybe Tati and Rachel are different, feelings, but I thought it was a great experience, even though it was just like annoying this whole process. So going through passport control, we get. I'm cold, that's why I'm yawning. Passport control, we get to our line. Rachel's first up. The passport security man, why was he sexy? Like, you remember, like, we had been traveling at this point for probably 13, 14 hours. Like, we are exhausted. Like, why is this man sexy? Like, that is the last thing we needed to see in such a state as we were in. Okay. Rachel gets to the till and he's like, where are you traveling? And she's like, Athens, we're going to Athens. He goes, where are you traveling? Like literally giving her nothing, like not an ounce of a smile, nothing. She looks behind and she goes, we're going to Athens. Like we're going to Athens. And me and Tati were like, tell him the country. Like we were just so out of it. We like, and so then she's like, oh yeah, we're going to Greece. We're going to Greece. He looks her up and down. He goes, okay, look like passport, whatever. My other friend Tati goes next. She like, again, says, you traveling with her? She was like, yeah. And then done, passport, whatever. He gets to me. And here's the other thing. Tati and Rach were trying to find the gate. Like their main mission was to go find where this gate was so we can make it to our next flight. Because they were like, we're not missing this one. Which, hey, so fair, respect the hustle. So I was at the passport control by myself. So also I don't have, like I can only speak to my own experience because I was the only one living it and I don't have witnesses. Okay. So you just have to take my word for this. I get to the screen thing. He looks at me, he goes, so is this a girls trip? What? I've been traveling for 14 hours and you're trying to flirt with me at this moment? At least is what I took it as. And that's what I'm going to run with as well. And if I go back to Munich and he's there, I'm going to be like, you were flirting. Hey, you hit on me last time. But no, he was literally like, so is this a girls trip? Like that. Voice change, like just giving, you know? And I was like, oh, no, it's actually like we're going for one of our friends' weddings. And then he looks at me again, like gives me a smile. He goes, oh, congratulations. Stands your passport. He goes, have a nice trip. Oh my gosh. Germans, sound off in the chat. Was he hitting on me? Like, what? Oh my goodness. That is crazy. That is so crazy. He was so like the tone, the vibes were way different. And so obviously I like get out of that queue and I'm like flustered with my Munich stamp. I'm like, like where even is this gate? Like I can't. Anyways, I find the girlies, they're not too far. We also now find out at this point that we have to leave the airport and then go through security again to then get to our gate. And so we were like, okay, like sign our rest in peace that flight, because ain't no way we making it. So then we talked to like 4 people in the airport and we're trying to ask them like, what should we do? What, like, we need to get to this flight. Like now we can't make it, all this stuff. He said, yeah, you got to go to the desk. So we find the American Airlines desk and then we're talking to them. They book us on a different flight that now gets us to Athens at 1 in the morning. So our beautiful afternoon, you know, doing some shopping, walking around, seeing the stuff, gone. And that was sad. That was really sad. So sure enough, we're chilling in the Munich airport. Now we have 6 hours to burn in the Munich airport because it was like our flight didn't leave until 9. Oh my gosh, no, we had 8 hours to burn in the Munich airport. They give us this like voucher. I literally eat the worst meal I've ever had in my entire life. And let me tell you as well, I love food. I do have a high standard for like what I consider a good meal. But at the end of the day, if I'm starving, like I will take anything. Like you give me a suspicious looking hot dog, like I will eat it and not complain at the end of the day. Like I'm about it. When I tell you actually, I'll put up a picture on the screen. When I tell you I had a baked potato with some questionable green sauce on top of it, that was giving pesto, like visually, but the palate was giving like celery water. Like it wasn't giving anything, you know? And then I had this really strange chicken that was also looking like toy chicken, like the stuff the little kids play with in like their little play kitchens. It was bad. And you'll see the photo, like bad. So we have that. I do have a German beer though, because if I'm going to be here, like I'm going to experience a little bit of the culture. All right. So we have that meal. And then we are obviously like floored at how horrendous this meal was. And I will also say the service in this restaurant was so deeply confusing. And I think Tati and Rach would say the same. We were like, what is happening? I don't even know how to express. It was like the waitress could speak English, but she didn't want to. So every time she spoke to us, she was obviously like mad that we didn't, I don't know. Like I couldn't tell. It was like she really did not want us to be there. Which was confusing. But anyways, that was like our very weird dinner experience. At this point, we are so exhausted. We took like little naps on that flight to get to Munich, but we hadn't fully like had a rest, like horizontal rest in a while. So we decided we need to just go to sleep at the gate because we have so much time to burn in this freaking airport. So we all grab our stuff. We all like pick this quiet little gate that was kind of near by the one that we had to like our gate anyways. And we fully fell asleep at the gate. And when I tell you I was REM sleeping, like dream mode, inception, like I was in a dream, I'm in a dream, Like it was really intense because I was so exhausted. And the way as well that like Rachel was smart and she had her arm like hooked through her bags and whatever. Like if someone tried her, she would go and try them back. You know what I mean? And like, ain't no way. Me and Tati were like, we going to bed que será, será. Like, we just fully left all of our bags out there. Like, I was getting comfortable, and that was my only objective. But the airport, honestly, like, of all the airports to sleep in and like really leave your stuff like out there, hella, you know what I mean? That would be the one to do it. It was so quiet and chill, and nobody gave a rip. And I've never slept in a gate before. So I did feel a little bit like checking off a bucket list situation. Like, I've always seen people do it, and I've wondered why. Like, why are you falling asleep here? And I get it now. Like, you really don't know what people are going through at the airport, you know? Okay. And so then we finally get on our flight. It's so dark. We are so exhausted. We finally then arrive at Athens. Again, we are not in the greatest states, as you can imagine. Like, we are tired little mamas. Like, we are tired. We get off the plane, you know, the pilot's there. Hey, pilot? Why was he 27 years old? Also, sexy, as you can imagine. Yeah. So we got off the plane. The first thing we were like, that was a pilot. Oh my gosh. Sorry, my nose just bumped the mic. Hope you can hear that. That was the pilot, though. We were already not in a good way, obviously, because it's like 1 a.m. We get out of this plane. All of the girlies on this plane fitted up. Like, bust down, Tatiana. Like, the whole plane, it was giving like you came out of a Zara ad. What? That was number one, a crime. Number two, I should actually say me being in their presence was a crime. Like, I should have been like, take me away, boss. Like, bad, because they were all giving. I was not giving. And it's so, oh my gosh, that's like actually one of the parts of traveling that really does hurt my feelings, because it's like, you don't understand, I'm a star, but like, due to these present circumstances, I do not have the facilities available to me to present the way that I know what I know to be true of myself. And so for that reason, you should lock me up. Anyways, that's besides the point. The airport, every man in there, bad. Looking good, like that kind of bad. You know what I mean? Then we finally get to our Airbnb, and that's great, but it is like 2 a.m. So, you know, our trip to Greece was beautiful, all this stuff, but ultimately, like, the girlies, my girlies, they are the best travel people ever, because obviously that whole situation could have like made or break the entire trip. Like, I've heard of nightmare friend stories where something goes wrong and like someone freaks out, panic attack, like just the whole thing. And I feel like in that whole story, we always were like laughing, always had a good time. Like, we were all just so delirious, and no matter what was happening, we were all going to make sure we were having a good time. And yeah, so anyways, I say that long travel story to say that, you know, who you choose to travel with is super, super important, because it can make and break your experiences. So I think some reasons why my travel dynamic with specifically Tati and Rach, we've traveled, I think, the most like together, because we've typically gone to go meet our friend Olivia where she's living. So we've done a lot of trips. But I think what makes like our 3 dynamic so great and so helpful is that me personally tend to be like a very chill person. Like, I will go with the flow, very adaptable. Like, okay, let's come up with a new plan. Like, let's figure this out. Like, no matter what, you know, that's going to happen. Tati is like a get business done. Like, if something goes wrong, for example, when we were in London a few years ago, our hotel got broken into, and she was calling downstairs, I kid you not, every hour on the hour. She was like, y'all better get us a refund. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, she's that girl though. Like, she will get it done, and she'll handle business, and she's not afraid of nothing. Then when we were in Barcelona, I forgot about this story. When we were in Barcelona, these like kids from, I don't know, these kids were staying above our apartment, and they hadn't been there the whole time. I think there was like a quieter family there before, and then they came in and it was a ruckus central, like literally 24/7. And we could hear them like running up and down the stairs, and we thought, and one of them knocked on our door, and we were obviously like so spooked. And Tati was the one, she was out there, she got a knife, she said, "Hey." Hit it behind your back. Like, you just really, you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know. But she's that girl. She's that girl. She's always handling business, that's for sure. And then Rachel is like the planner girly, which is so nice because I'm the Venmo girly, like literally make whatever plans you want and just Venmo me their request. And like I'll be there. Like I'll be showing up when we need to show up. But like I don't really care where we go or like what we do. I mean, there were things that I cared about. They're typically like the museums and stuff, which I'll just book those myself for everyone. But I think like there's also just that aspect of like she be researching, she be on the TikTok, she be on the Google reviews, she be on the Yelp. Like she has a Google Doc. Like she's really locked and loaded with her recommendations. And I will say traveling with her is awesome because she does find the best spots. For real. So yeah. And the other thing I feel like, which is, she always says this, is like, if she's not laughing, she's not living. And I think that's also just our group kind of headspace when we're traveling, is just, you know, whatever happens, like we are going to have a good time no matter what, because we're all together. But yeah, I feel like those are some things like our group dynamic that really helps. I will say some struggles are me and Rach tend to run hot and Tati tends to run really cold. So she likes to sleep in a warm room, which is disgusting. And me and Rachel like a cold, like yummy environment. And so that is really like that's like the most tension I think our friend group has when it comes to traveling. But yeah. And I think when it comes to like as well splitting costs and financially, I think that's something else I feel like that a lot of people have tension over. I feel like for me personally, if, you know, usually whenever you're traveling internationally, it's just easier to charge it all on one card and then like deal with it later. And that's at least how we deal with it. I feel like, you know, everyone's just covering like cover this Uber, cover this dinner, cover this whatever. And everyone's just kind of taking turns. I feel like at the end of the day, it all comes out in the wash. That's how I feel. So I'm not too like hectic about Venmoing after, but that's just me. Like I know some people are like very rigid about like doing that and getting all their money back. I don't really care. So that's a me thing. But yeah, I feel like traveling is so much fun, and especially when you find people that make travels more fun and make them more memorable. But yeah, I think we're just they're my people, like they're my girlies, they're my travel girlies, and I know that it'd be great to do anything with them and go anywhere with them. But yeah, I have so many other travel stories and just like cookie crazy things that have happened to us. Okay, wait, I will say that I do have a funny story about when I did get frustrated when I was traveling. So this one, it was the four of us and we were all in London because we had just finished our like big Euro summer. We did London, Paris, Antibes, Copenhagen, Sweden for a day, and then back to London. And it was on that like back to London. I think we had two nights in London, like one full day. Anyways, it was on that one that we were all just so dead tired from all like the you know, hopping all of the time zones and then just like traveling so much. And we went out to dinner and drinks at the Fitzroy Kimpton in London, which is a gorgeous hotel with a stunning little jazz bar inside. That's such a great place. Well, we went there and it was pretty far away from where our Airbnb was. So we needed to get the tube on the way home. And the tube, I didn't realize this, but the tube lines, like certain ones like close after a certain time. And it was basically like all of our main lines that were closing. And I was trying to get us to the trains because we didn't want to miss it faster. And there were these like massive stairs. I think it said there was like 230 something stairs, like literally so many. And I was like, guys, we should just take the stairs instead of taking the lifts, because that train station only had elevators. And so and there was a huge queue for the lifts as well. It's like, let's just take the stairs. We get on the stairs. I make these girlies climb those like 200 whatever stairs. It's probably midnight at this point as well. We're so tired. And then we hear a thing on the loudspeaker like, the stairs are only for emergencies. Like, get out. Like, do not use the stairs, whatever. We're like, oop. And so we just like obviously keep on powering through because they were also like spirally. Oh my God. Like, I cannot believe it was a whole thing. Anyways, we got in that train and we were done. There was a guy who was like ill on the other side. Like, it was just a whole story. And I think in that moment we got into the tube and we all sat together, but like very far away, and we were just quiet, And I think that's another great lesson that I learned is like, you have to be friends or travel with people who also like know when it is like quiet time. Like, we are all overstimulated in this moment. And, they didn't give me they were like laughing at me for sure for making them climb all those stairs, but whatever. It was just so funny. Like, it was just so crazy. But I think like stuff like that just always happens whenever you're in a new place, you just don't know what you're going to come across. But again, they're just the best people. And so it was very funny at the end of the day. But yeah, I mean, navigating in a different country can also be super stressful. I think when we were going to the airport to leave, that was also super hectic. And we got annoyed at each other for like trying to figure out like what to do. And like how to navigate the public transit. That's a whole other thing too. But anyways, Tati, Rach, you have to do an episode with me because this would be so funny to talk about all of our crazy stories. But anyways, traveling is so worth it every single time. And I think finding friends, really is a gift. So if you have done this or travel with your friends, I just think like you shouldn't take that for granted, that you have great people in your life and that you can travel with. But also if you're trying to figure out who to travel with, I hope that in my stories and also in my little advices that you were able to deduce who are some good people in your life. And like ultimately, I think it's just finding people who have a good attitude no matter what life throws their way, because you can't control every detail of anything. So I think it really is more of just like a pervasive life pattern overall than like just traveling that, you'll see different parts of people when traveling, but ultimately it's like who these people are when they're not traveling that is just going to be consistent no matter what, Okay, well, guys, thank you so much for listening and hearing my travel stories. I can't wait to do it again with my girlies here. So thanks for listening. See you later. And don't forget to subscribe and follow us on everything. Bye.